Welcome back, everybody, to This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good week. Back on my own. That's okay. Because I got you here listening. I've got a mouse that is acting up, and it's frustrating the crap out of me, but I'll be fine. I'll keep it to myself. I won't complain too much. You know, first world problems or whatever they say. Hey, if you're new to the show and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button as well. Like the video. If you're on your a podcast app, and you haven't that. And you haven't added us to your library, please do so. And if you want to support the show as a long-term member, or if you're new and you like what I'm doing here, you can head to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast for bonus content every single week at the $5 and up tiers. You can also join as a free member, or you can hit the $1 or $2 tiers, and that gets you access to our Discord channel, where you can chat with other listeners of the show. I'm on there. Other faces from the podcast are on there as well. Just a great way to support the show. Bonus content every single week. Patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. I kick off every episode with a segment called Flying Blind, where I try something I've never had before or something that I haven't had in a while and I kind of forgotten about. It used to be that if there was a co-host around, I would blind them with something, but since the departure of the Whiskey Mutant, I'm just doing things in a way that I kind of used to do back in the old days of the podcast, and that's the way I just described it. So I found in a box of samples just a sample labeled Russell's Reserve Total Wine. No other descriptors. That's all it says on this on this bottle. So could be good. I mean, it's Russell's. It's a Russell's Reserve pick from Total Wine. So I imagine it's going to be somewhat decent. But I don't know anything else about it. So we're just going to pour it up and see what we got, I suppose. It was a very... It's a very oaky, very, very kind of carrot cakey Russell's. Actually, not kind of. It is very carrot cakey. It reminds me of the old It's Bourbonite pick that they did years ago. That, like, the dominant note on it was carrot cake. I don't even remember what the name of that pick was. But it was so good, I blew through it so quickly. I wish I had another bottle of that. Yeah, it's just like baking spices, kind of like this rye bread thing going on as well. Delightful, I would say. All right. Cheers, folks. Thanks for being here for another week. I appreciate y'all. It's really kind of just hitting the carrot cake note on the palate. It's not going anywhere else in particular. It's good. I mean, I'm not upset with it by any means, but it's not this like big explosive, really kind of in your face Russell's. I think that there is still like the hallmarks of Wild Turkey, the black teas, the kind of cherry cola, cherry cough syrup. But that, like, it's just so strange that the carrot cake is so dominant. I'm like taken aback by it more than anything. But quite good. Really, really quite good. Yeah, not going to complain too much about that. Let you know real quick what I've been drinking recently. There hasn't been too much out of the ordinary. I ran to go see our buddy Chade over at Rare Character for a little bit this Friday. And had some stuff that can't talk about, as always. He gave me a bottle that I opened for Pop Chicka Wow Wow that I can talk about, but it is batch 4 of the Rare Character limited release, their rye. This is just a Kentucky rye as well. And that's just a Patreon episode, by the way. That's one of the bonus episodes. That was what came out this week. So go check that out if you want to hear my thoughts on that. And then, so today's Sunday as well when I'm recording. And yesterday, I did a little bit of streaming. Played some Mario Kart, played some backyard baseball. Had a couple pours while I was doing that. One of them was what is this barrel code? PLT from Rare Character. I can't say anything else about what that mashbill is or where it comes from or anything, but it's quite good. It's very reminiscent of the distiller that makes it. And then I got done and I watched my buddies over on Razzle Media do their subathon stream on Twitch and had another Lucky Buddha beer, which was nice and just really one of the best beers out there. But yeah, I mean that's kind of it aside from the stuff I've done on my live stream, which I won't retread too much because I want you to go and watch those VODs if you haven't done so. And I also want you to come and watch when I stream as well on Thursday nights on YouTube, which you can find just by searching for the podcast. Or you might be here listening to the show on YouTube as well. Or twitch.tv/mybourbonpod. Please come hang out. It would be wonderful to see you there. Drinking bourbon, having a good time, playing video games just on Twitch. I won't play video games on YouTube, I don't think. But I'm really trying to build the Twitch audience up, get over to the affiliate level so I can finally have just even another little thing under my belt. I think it would be really nice. And I like streaming on Twitch just in, as an extra platform. I think it's good. I think it's awesome. But anyway, yeah, if you didn't know that I also do streams, I'm the weird little like crossover between Whiskey Tube and podcasting, where I do live streams, but I also put out, content on YouTube. Just no real like videos that often. But anyway, well, folks, we got a review this week. I've been looking forward to this. I've had my eye out for it, and I didn't know that it was on the shelf yet until I got a text from our buddy Darren Wright, who said that he had run to Liquor Barn in Louisville, and he had grabbed it for same price that I had gotten it for, which was right around $42. This is the brand new, and it says limited release on the bottle. I don't know if it's going to come out again in the future. We'll see. I guess it kind of depends on the popularity or the stock that Jim Beam has. But this is the Old Grandad 7-year-old Bottle and Bond. Uses their high rye mash bill. 100 proof, of course. Distilled in the spring of 2018. Bottled spring of 2025. I cracked this already. I actually opened it with Chad on Friday when I went to go see him. We had some thoughts about it. I kind of felt like maybe it needed to open up a little bit. So I'm hoping that it's done that. My initial thoughts were it was good, but it wasn't great. And it needed something else. It didn't feel like it was a 7-year-old bourbon. And it certainly didn't feel like it was Jim Beam's High Rye mash bill. Like at all. So we'll get into all that. I also want to compare it to Grandad 114 because I can't find my regular bottle of Old Grandad Bottled and Bond anywhere for whatever reason. And then I want to do a couple other little comparisons here and there, which I won't spoil just yet. So let's check out the nose, and then we'll kind of just move from there. It smells like fingernail polish. And I'm not even joking. There is a little bit of just straight kind of like vanilla, caramel, barrel influence. But the overwhelming kind of just alcohol note is easily the most prominent one. And really was hoping that was going to go away with a little bit of airtime. I mean, it's been open for 2 days. It's been open for 48 hours. And nothing's changed. Maybe like a hint of some baking spices too. It's just not really going anywhere for me. It is bonkers that this is a 7-year-old bourbon. I mean, how is this a 7-year-old bourbon? Also, I apologize. My allergies are terrible. If I sound a little stuffy, the weather has been insane in Lexington recently. All right. Bottoms up, I suppose. It's finally gone nutty. The palate has improved. The palate has improved by quite a bit. It's not like bursting with flavor. It's not making me feel like there's as much age on this as it says there is. I really would feel more like this is a 5-year-old bourbon. Especially with the viscosity. I mean, there is little to no viscosity here. But I'm picking up more like toasted rye bread. I'm definitely picking up more nuttiness. It's not quite peanut butter. It's more just like toasted peanuts. A slight bit of honey. A slight bit of like ginger. And I mean, it's, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's like well composed. It's a little scattershot. It's good, but it's definitely still not great. It is a step up from when it was opened on Friday, for sure. But this is two things. One, shockingly flat for a $42 bourbon and a 7-year-old age-stated bottled and bond product from Jim Beam. The first comparison I want to do is going to be, and I will do my normal review in a minute, but I think that, and by the way, the finish is like nearly non-existent. The finish is kind of just there and gone. Like, not even really paying attention to it because it doesn't go anywhere. It's not providing any added experience. It's not really doing anything. But the first comparison I want to do is another 7-year-old bourbon that came out within the past year. Jim Beam Black, 7-year, 90 proof, on the shelf for $20, $25, whatever it is. Pretty much half the price of this, Old Granddad, but 10 proof points lower and the same age statement. And I mean, just immediately, the nose jumps so much higher. Like brighter citrus, more cinnamon, clove even, peanut brittle. Like, it's undeniable that there is more quality baked into the Beam 7-year than the Old Granddad. I can tell you with just one sip of the Beam that there's more depth of flavor than there is with the Granddad. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I had to try them side by side. The nose on the Beam, definitely better. The palate might be a little bit better on the Old Granddad now that I'm really putting it up against something. It's not like otherworldly, but it is definitely good. And I think it is just as good as the Beam Black 7-year. Which, two different mash bills, same age statement, vastly different prices, and 10 proof point difference. I mean, you would hope that you would get more bang for your buck with the Old Granddad, but it's I don't know, it's just like it's not cutting the mustard, as it were. The Beam definitely has more of a finish to it. Like, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I don't even remember what my score was for the Beam, but I sincerely hope that it rates higher than the Old Granddad. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and review the Old Granddad so I can do some comparisons that I'm going to do a couple comparisons that will just be for Patreon, but I do want to do the Granddad 114 comparison for everybody. But my rating system on the podcast is nose, palate, finish, and price, with each category being out of 5 and a final score out of 20. For some reason, I think it's because I'm looking at the number 7 and I've said the number 7 so much that I almost said each category is out of 7 and a final score was out of 7 as well. And it just didn't make any sense. And I really had to push through to say what it actually is. So, professionalism at work here, kids. We're doing the we're doing God's work. Nose. Straight down the middle, 2.5. Not really going anywhere, not really making me feel one thing or another. It's just like, I mean, I do want more from it, but it's not so functionally bad or good that it's doing anything one way or another. It's such a fence sitter. That almost sounded bad for some reason. Like, I know it operatively was not, but it kind of came out like it could have been. Yeah, 2.5 on the nose. Not that much higher on the palate. We're going to go with a 3. Yeah, even like, even still going back and forth between the Beam 7-year, it's just not doing that much more at 100 proof compared to 90 proof, to where I'm feeling like it needs a huge boost. I mean, there's no way that the Beam palate score, which again, I don't remember what I gave it, but it had to have been at least a 3.5. Like 3.5 to 4 is what I would imagine I gave that. But easily the weakest part of the Grandad is the finish. Non-existent, doesn't go anywhere, falls off a cliff to nothingness. Maybe just a little bit of the like caramel and peanutiness that was around on the palate. It kind of lingers, but it just really does not do enough to push it beyond. I'm giving it a 1. And I feel like I might be a little bit critical, but dadgummit, I wanted this to be really good. I wanted this to go places. $42 for a bottle of this. It's a bit of a leap from Grandad Bottled and Bond, which, you know, is non-age stated, but is still like $20 to $25 in most markets. The biggest problem with it for a lot of people is that between it and Grandad 114, it can be hard to find because it is, you know, a little bit more of a coveted product on the market these days. That being said, though, you know, that at like $20 to $25, Jim Beam's High Rye Mash Bill, you know, that particular line is not overly saturated with products. It's basically Old Grandad and then Basil Hayden. And you're not really getting a whole lot else unless I have completely forgotten about something, which is possible. And in that case, I need to let's take a gander. Yeah, it's really just like Old Grandad and Basil Hayden that uses this high rye mash bill. So, you know, it would be nice to see them do something else with it, but at the same time, what could they do with it? I don't know. Make a one-off Booker's, make a one-off Knob Creek. I don't know. $42 though. It's pretty good for a limited release. I'm not gonna lie. Like that, it has a lot of weight. It's pushing it up as far as like value. Could this be a much better product? Absolutely. I think the wheels just kind of fell off inside some of the blending. I would anticipate is largely what we're seeing here. But with that being said, though, $42. I mean, like, even if it's an even 40 for the MSRP, not awful. Not awful. 3.5. All things considered, the price might be like one of the better things about this. Like, Jim Beam could have gouged us. They really could have gouged us with this one. And they didn't. So I'll give them that. My final score, though, it is a 10 out of 20. I wanted this to be so much better than it is, honestly. I'm just, I'm unsurprised. I'm a little unsurprised. Wait, no, I am surprised. I'm surprised that this wasn't better than it is. It's Jim Beam's High Rye Mash Bill. I love their High Rye Mash Bill. I love products like Old Granddad 114, which I bought a bottle of specifically for this. And the reason I didn't buy a bottle of regular Granddad Bottled and Bond is because I always have a bottle, and I just can't find mine right now. I don't know where it is. My office is a little disheveled at the moment. I'm sorry. I got 2 little kids, okay? I'm a busy man. Sue me. Now, do I think I know how this is going to go? Yeah, I do. It says not for underage on the back. I've never seen that before on a whiskey. Didn't they used to have a lot on Granddad 114? I think they've done away with that. Interestingly enough. I like that it still has a real cork, too. Does the old Granddad 7 have one? No. Synthetic. That's okay. I mean, choose your battles. You know, I'm okay. I like the authenticity of real corks. It doesn't upset me when products go with synthetic cork. All right, we'll start with the 7-year. Man, I'm so bummed this wasn't better than it could have been. So bummed. I mean, come on. Come on, dude. Granddad 114? Granddad 114 might still be the sleeper on the market. This bottle is so dark. Like, insanely dark. Comparatively to the Granddad 7. I mean, it's no competition. It is cakey. It is syrupy. It's nutty. It's so full-bodied. Just beautiful. I'm scared to go back to the 7-year because I'm really worried that it's just going to feel like drinking water. It held up okay. It did all right. It wasn't the experience that I thought it was going to be, but it certainly is bringing out more like medicinal cherry notes, oddly enough. Like, I feel like I'm drinking more of a Buffalo Trace product than I am Jim Beam. But it's not bad. It's holding its own for sure. Still, the weakest part of this, of the entire experience, is the finish. 114 just blows it out of the water. I mean, there's just no comparison. Like, night and day between the two. I mean, I don't want to say night and day because they are very clearly like cut from the same cloth. Like you absolutely can tell they're in the same family. You can tell that they're the same mash bill, same distillate, all of that. There's a real refinement to Jim Beam's process, and I know that of course, that's something that comes with decades and a century of over a century, but maybe two, really, at this point, of honing. Is it homing or honing? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Their skills and their process behind making a consistent bourbon, that I think Jim Beam is the most consumed bourbon, or most sold bourbon in the world too. So anyway, the whole point being, these two are not as different as I thought they would be, by any stretch of the imagination. Folks, we are moving on to a segment known as Barrel Rings, which you can be a part of. It's actually completely listener driven, because if you don't call and leave us some voicemail, or text and leave us a text message that we can read out, it just falls apart. There's nothing we can do with this segment. Barrel Rings has no purpose at that point. And, if you want to, ask for advice, or, about what to buy, or you have a question about a particular pour or whatever, this is a great way to ask as well. I mean, there's any number of things that we can do with Barrel Rings. It doesn't just have to be call in and go, hey, you guys rule. Yeah. No, you can actually it can be bourbon centric too. Barrel Rings is for many different things. But anyway, that phone number can be found below, but it is also 859-428-8253. That is 859-428-8253. Give us a ring, leave us a voicemail, or send us a text. Data and message rates may apply. I don't know if that's true. I just like to say that now. This is a text message from our friend Emily Chambers. She says, brown bread is a New England staple of molasses-based bread, sometimes with raisins baked and sold in a can around the time the canning process was civilized. It's molasses-forward, almost kiki good toasted. Huh? Okay. Especially in a pan, sort of sweet, but not over-sweet. Usually food hangout. Don't remember from the episode. I'll have to check back, but yes, brown bread, much good agree with Brazo. Yeah, that was from last week's episode. If you haven't listened to it, Brazo brought up brown bread in a can, which I had never heard of before, and apparently it's a thing. But I'll try it. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. We don't really do sips and snacks on the show anymore, but that might be worthy of a pairing. I don't know. And then also, we've got a voicemail. Emily, thank you so much for your message, by the way. I appreciate it, and I look forward to checking it out. We also have a voicemail. We're just going to check it out right here, right now.
Hey, this is Michael / Michael WMD on the YouTube handle. Question for you, Perry. As a father and podcaster extraordinaire, how do you organize and schedule your time so that you get the most out of life and be able to take care of both of your endeavors in the optimal fashion? Also, I was wondering if you've been able to find a co-host. And I was thinking, why don't you list it on either Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace? I know I found some great furniture for my whiskey room on Facebook Marketplace. I figured maybe you could find a co-host for your whiskey room. That's all. Have a wonderful day.
ISO one co-host for local bourbon podcast, middlingly successful, for trade, free pours, and companionship. Oh, that sounds way worse than I meant for it to. For trade, friendship, and you get to come sit on my couch back here. That is yeah. It's a great. No, I have not found a co-host yet. I have ideas for people that I would like to be the next co-host. I said on. So here's a little bit of background for people who are not on the Patreon. I said on last week's pregame chats that I am moving towards the idea that I think I need somebody else. I think I need another co-host. To help support this show moving forward. And I'm going to be very vulnerable about this. I'm going to be very, very vulnerable about this. I am of two minds about the next co-host of the show. And I might be a little bit shallow about it, and I hope that I'm not like coming off this way. But there's a fine line between like somebody that I just trust as someone who is going to support the show in the way that it exists and just knows bourbon and knows what they're talking about and is going to be entertaining and is just going to support the show and lift it up in all the ways that it already has done so over the past 7.5 years. And then also somebody who might already be established in the world of bourbon. Not necessarily like as a distiller or, you know, a producer, but maybe as a content creator too. So it's like, where do I find that balance? Or is there even really that balance? So how do I fit those needs, or can I fit those needs into somebody that will sit opposite me moving forward? Because the show is not going to look in the same way that it did during Eric's tenure as a co-host. And it's not going to look in any particular way other than the format that it is right now, right? I don't want anybody to come into the show and act like Eric. I just want them to be themselves and function within the confines of what This Is My Bourbon podcast is. I do want somebody else at this point to join the show. Like, that seems the most reasonable to me. That being said, though, I don't know what that process is going to look like. Again, I'm not like ready to give up the podcast, and I won't be for a long time either. I'm having as much fun as I ever have with it, and I'm like this sounds just as shallow as being like, here's the kind of person that I want next, but like I'm over the mourning period and I'm ready for what's next, and I'm enjoying the podcast as much as I ever have. Like I don't feel bad about things. I'm just enjoying them. And it's good. It's good. It's just good, man. I just like it. And you all have responded well to it, and thank you for that. I couldn't do this without you. As always, I will never, ever, ever stop thanking you for supporting what I tried to do with this show, because I put everything into this, man. I really do. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So yeah, moving forward, I don't know yet. We'll figure it out together. We'll get there. We'll get there. I have conversations I need to have with some people. And yeah, it's okay. This is airing a lot of things that you probably it's very inside baseball. But it's fine. It's fine. To Michael's like first half of his question, how do you organize and schedule your time so that you get the most out of life? I'll be very honest about this too, because I'm very honest about everything. And this is a conversation that I had with Joe and Todd after I got done recording with them last week, just about the state of the podcast. I'm probably like open and honest to a fault about my personal life. I mean, not all of it for sure. Because I'm still quite a private person in most capacities. Like I don't talk about everything, but also like I like sharing, milestones about my kids and my marriage and things like that. Like I like the personal aspects of talking about who I am. And this is very evident in the way that I talk on the Served Up podcast, which my episode just came out. Go check it out. If you haven't done so, I'll put a link in the description as well. It's a lot of fun. I really appreciate Bridget for having me on. And I look forward to being on a future episode as well. But anyway, that episode was so much fun, man. I cannot wait to go back and do another one. I try to be, and I am always the most like real version of myself in every presentation that I give, right? So if I'm on a podcast, it's me. If you meet me in real life, it's me. If I'm at a birthday party or I'm meeting you for the first time, like, it's just me. So I am very open and honest about things like this. But the podcast, when it comes to like balance, probably is not as much of a balance as much as it is like a sacrifice, because there are a lot of late nights. There are a lot of times when I could, instead of like staying up to edit, I could just go to bed and watch TV with Lucy. But, you know, the podcast is somewhat profitable, so it makes sense for me to work on it and take time to make this like my second job. Now, is there a world in which this could be my first job? Not really. Not at this point. I think that maybe I might be on a track to where it could be my first job. There's been a lot of like positive traction towards the podcast recently, which is crazy, and I've really appreciated that. But that doesn't come without hard work and late nights, and being fortunate enough to I'll be allowed sacrifices of, you know, some nights where I get less sleep, or you know, not see my wife and kids as much. But at the same time, like, when I do see my wife and my kids, this is the true like balance of it. Okay. Those moments, and this is the intentionality part of it. Be intentional with your time that you have. If you do have something bonus in your life, like a podcast, that takes you away from the life outside of like your 9 to 5, be intentional with that time and make the most of it. Like, sit down, get off your phone, look at them, play with them, talk with them, let them know that your time with them is valued and special, and you are there for them, not because you have to be, but because you want to be. And that changes everything. And I'm not saying it's like an excuse for you to go and do a podcast and drink and do whatever with your buddies, but it at least gives you it is more fulfilling when you are spending those late nights worrying over whether or not what you're doing with something that feels microscopic could eventually be macroscopic within the confines of your life. So this is a big way of saying, I'm not great about scheduling. I'm not great about organizing, but I am good about intentionality. So, yeah, that's my advice. That's my personal input at the very least. So, yeah, it was a long barrel rings. We haven't done barrel rings since Eric left either. So, I get to I got to harp on it for a little while. I don't think I have any high proof hot takes this week. Yeah, I don't have anything. Tips and bits, though. I do have tips and bits. I have fun tips and bits this week. I haven't talked about I haven't talked about a show or an anime since Eric's been gone. And this is like anime tangential or anime adjacent, because it's not really on like a network. It's on YouTube. And it's only 3 episodes, and it's self-funded for the most. I mean, it has like Patreon funding and everything. But it's a show called Punch Punch Forever. It is so wholesome and so fun, but bizarre and referential and just the goofiest, easiest watch. Each episode is like 10 to 12 minutes long. You can just sit down. It's filmed. Well, not filmed. It's animated. But the way it's presented is like the person that created it found these VHS tapes from the 90s, and the edits, the cuts in are like, it was filmed almost over top of other shows in Japan from the 90s as well. And it just, there's a nostalgia almost to it as well that I love. And it definitely feels like a show that you could have watched, you know, here and there and still been a massive fan of, because it was a, you know, kind of a limited run, or it had a, you know, a pretty dense catalog, and you were able to pick up enough on the history of the show to still follow along with it. But the whole point is it's creator driven, and it's wonderful. It's so good. Punch Forever, again, is what it's called. There's English dubs. It's actually like the real original version is in Japanese with English subtitles on it. And you can find, you know, an English dub. But I recommend watching the Japanese dub, the original version of it, because there are more jokes that land with the Japanese version. It's great. I love it. And the reason that they only have 3 episodes too is because it is completely creator driven. And they have to find all of their funding before they can really dive into the full movement of making it a reality. So check it out. I'll try to put a link below. I had something else I was going to recommend as well, and I cannot think of what it is. So maybe I'll try to think of it until then. But thank you all so much for watching or listening. I appreciate you. This has been a really fun episode. My favorite one since I've been going solo. My favorite solo one. I will say last week's episode with Joe and Todd was so much fun. Just love having people that I can hang out with and talk to, rather. But if you want to support the show and you've had a good time and you want more of this, you can head to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast and support the show for as little as $1 a month. You can be a free member over there as well. But from $1 and up, you get the Discord that you can be a part of. But $5 and up, you can get bonus content every single dadgum week. On Mondays, there is a bonus episode. On Tuesdays, there's the pregame chats. And there is also the early, uncut, unedited, unfiltered version of the podcast that you get to hear before anybody else. So if you want that a day early, you can get that. Patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. $5 and up. If you want to send us a question or comment through our email, this is mybourbonshop@gmail.com. You can also follow the show itself at mybourbonpod on all social media. Literally all social media. It's at mybourbonpod. I'm also personally at P Ritter 1792. That's PRITTER 1792 1792. That's, you know, on most social media, I think. Or you can Google me, or, you know, search for me, and I'm there. There's a guy out of New York who does instrument repair that also is named Perry Ritter, and it was always interesting finding that guy when I was like in middle school or high school and Googling myself. I was like, Perry Ritter, and then there was this guy out of New York who was also named Perry Ritter. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. Anyway, you can check out all of our apparel and merchandise at bourbonshop.threadless.com. I do all of the design work for that. You get the logo. You get, this is my bourbon drinking shirt. There's Christmas stuff. There's Valentine's stuff. There's so many things for you or the bourbon drinker in your life. Go check all that out. You can also send us samples, send me samples, or bottles, or mail, correspondence, whatever, to our P.O. Box. It's P.O. Box 22609, Lexington, Kentucky, 40522. And we will happily open that on the show, talk about it, and see what you sent us. Hopefully it's not poison. Hopefully I will not just kick the bucket, keel over. And, that would be awful. And then last but not least, leave us a 5-star rating and review on your podcast app of choice, and we will read it out here on the podcast if we can find it. If it's primarily, I check the iTunes podcast app or Apple podcast app or whatever it's called these days, because that's what I check most. But if you're on something else, I try to check those as much as I can, and there hasn't been anything new in a while, but I will read those out when I see them. And I'm losing my voice. I'm getting hoarse. And I'm getting a horse, too. His name is Sonny. I don't know why. I'll figure it out. That does it. Thank you all so much for everything. I appreciate you. This is my favorite part of my week still, regardless of anything. I get to hang out with you, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you come back next week. I don't know what I'm doing next week. We'll figure it out. Maybe a flight or something. I haven't done a flight in a while, or maybe I'll just keep chugging along with reviews. I don't know. Until next time, though, I'm Perry, and this is my Bourbon Podcast.